All right, so 0.25.0. All right, this is a big one. Pretty big one. It all started with just some what seemed like a minor thing. It's just we were putting, you know, we were basically the user's prompt was always, being placed at the bottom, but we kind of dug in. We uncovered some issues. It was implemented in the skill, and then we moved it to the plugin, and then we did a bunch of stuff related to that. So, yeah, I think it's good as much as possible put things in the software. I know that there's also a large contingent of people who say the opposite, put it as much as possible into the agents, skills, and all that, or not even skill, just let it run. But I think that agents are really good for coordination and calling things, logically, like doing pipelines and configure like pipelines that just kind of like figure out what you need to do, but they're not deterministic. So if you can create software for all the deterministic operations, like the little like atoms or the primitives, then that's helpful, and that's a tool that the agents can use to improve the outcomes. I don't know why I didn't publish that, but yes. And oh man, the release was at the bottom. So release was my prompt. Release was placed under the response patch. Why? Well, even if that didn't work as intended, we still did some refactoring, which is good, but I have to figure out exactly what the problem is. So, I don't know. Yes, the previous cycle, yes. Right. Alright, so we published the ordering issue was typed while the boundary marker was mid-exchange between previous... Okay, good. So logging is working good. When I wrote the response via Ep6, the patch was inserted at the boundary position. The boundary was above your release text. Oh, what? Why? So the response went above your prompt, correct, from the boundary perspective. But your prompt visually ended up below the response. Oh, wait, so the boundary was above the release text. So the response went above your prompt, right? After commit, we now only reposition the boundary in the snapshot, not working tree. Okay, right. The plugin is supposed to reposition it via reposition boundary true, the Ep6 flag during the write, but this happens at write time, meaning the boundary is only correct for the next cycle, not the one you just completed. The gap between commit, which no longer repositions in the working tree, and the next write, which does reposition the boundary stays mid-exchange. Any user typing during this goes below the boundary, and the next response goes above it. Plugin repositions after commit. Send standalone Ep6 reposition signal after commit, not tied to a write. Okay. That actually sounds pretty good. Write path always appends to end of exchange. Ignore boundary position. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Restore working tree, reposition, but use IPC. Send a reposition only IPC patch and then commit. Or from commit, no write, disk write. Commit sends a lightweight IPC patch that only repositions the boundary. No file content change. This avoids the disk writes while keeping the boundary correct. Okay, yes. Option 3. Oh shoot. We gotta do the rest of this pending stuff too. I don't know where to put this. I guess I can put this in the to do. Let me just get it out of here. Put it into to do. Yeah, I don't want to. This is just pending for this session and release. So I need a homebrew formula. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I definitely should do that. I should definitely do these next, actually. Phew. We got a lot more left. There's a lot more stuff going on here. This is definitely it's definitely a project. A decent sized project. All right. Done. Okay. Repositions boundary via snapshot as before. Sends IPC signal. Receives. Okay, so yeah, it looks like it worked. Option 3 got put up there. No plugin act. Well, that was because we weren't typing. So repositions boundary in snapshot as before. Good. I like the IPC signal. The plugin receives signal calls reposition to end on the document buffer. Boundary moves and an exchange in the editor. No disk writes. No keystroke loss. Good, good, good. So I would say add to spec md audit docs and then release. So this stuff should be at the top. Let's just test this out, I guess. I probably shouldn't have done the release. Yes. Okay, good. So it's doing it now. All right. So there you go. Looks like we'll get... Oh, we needed this skill. Oh, man. Damn it. I forgot about that. So implement. Why did it re-add this over here? Let me okay. Sub not needed yet. Okay, so I'll just remove that. We'll just have another release. Oh, I see. So it reported up to date. Ooh, that's not good. Yeah, shoot. Okay, so Maturin, and then we should be able to do this next, and then we'll do the next release after that. Okay, I think we should release again. Well, let's implement this, and then we got a new. Okay, prompt ordering to do reorg noted. Okay, commit time RPC repositions doing this job. Okay, right. So I think it noticed that I did stuff here. I'll move this over here. Just to get it out of the pending. This is actually a good flow to where I can move things from between to do and pending. That actually works well. This should be pretty quick. 2 different copies. What the? Okay. Alright, so I'm just gonna, I guess, do a little more looking around. So, yeah, if I were to drop into this code base, I'd probably take me a little while to really get used to it. Start with main, and you just kind of branch out. I mean, I guess, really, if I needed to, let's say I were to be thrown into this project and have to do stuff on my own, I would get a task somewhere, and I would just have to dive into the command and just kind of like figure out what's going on, you know. So this is like the first step. Then we have an init file. I kind of wish this was more of a, well, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter if it's a string or not, but it would be better if this was like actual data type. If I could, rather than just slinging strings around, if I were to use a real like generator for the front matter. So matter, front matter, generator file, use a front matter generator for, I mean, I guess it's not that important though, as long as we do it right. I don't know, maybe not. Something that definitely makes me feel good in some ways, but yeah, probably a string is better. It could get complicated though, but I would definitely format it differently though. Like I would probably, yeah, I don't want to type anything while it's, or I would do something like this, but, or however you append, how do you append in Rust? I don't know. Shoot. Alright, so let's say release, or do we need to, okay, do we need to compact? Let's just, I guess we'll compact, and then we'll release, and then I'll do a compact exchange. But yeah, you know, obviously things move fast. So obviously anything is easier when it's slower, when you move slower. But, you know, generating, whether you're using agents or you just have a super fast team of people around you or whatever, who, you know, I guess they may or may not be doing things properly, but I suppose, because I'm usually, yeah, you couple speed with skill. Yeah, you know, you have to review stuff and all that. But I generally wasn't really big into code reviews to block as a blocker. I generally like the roll forward as much as possible because that just has more velocity. So I think that the people who, you know, are strict code reviewer types are probably going to struggle a little bit more with LLMs because it's a lot to keep track of. And I've had some PRs where I made some large changes and they got rejected because they're just too big, you know. So like, you know, I just did a bunch of refactoring, or, you know, I kind of went down a path, and it's sometimes it's really difficult to, like, as you like start on one thing, you discover other issues that are on a lower level. So you kind of just want to fix them right then and there. But that line of reasoning or that approach tends to not do very well in a strict code review environment. So now with LLMs, I think that with agents, or I mean, really, even with hand coding, you don't have to do it that way. You can just do it more of a roll forward, and it works great. It's just and it's also faster too. So it's kind of like one approach, in my opinion, is like being so afraid you're going to do something wrong that you seize up and just play. It's a little bit too perfectionist, but I don't think it results in better code. Personally, I think that it actually results in worse code, especially with larger projects, because the to-dos will just pile up or just not even they'll just be swept under the rug. I think things also get swept underneath the rug as well, a lot. So, and then you start having political battles, which really suck. Like you make a change and then people complain, oh, you didn't talk about it, this particular change in meeting, but it was better. But then it becomes a whole ego thing. And, it's like, no, thank you. It's just so toxic. So, yeah, I'm not really into strict pull request environments. I feel like by design it creates a lot of unnecessary tension, and it just slows things down, and the software is just in general worse, in my opinion. I mean, maybe it's not true with like maybe Linux, or maybe it works in some open source cases where you don't trust contributions because they're just coming from anybody. So sure, in that environment, yes, pull requests make sense and to be really specific and anal about it. But when everybody's working on a team and you're doing something, I feel like that model isn't as productive, personally. But maybe it could also be that maybe there's a certain, it just depends on who your teammates are too. Sometimes if you have a really good team around you, then that could work as well. So it's just a matter of there's a lot of depends in there, and it depends. So anyways, looks like we got things going. I think after this completes, I'm just gonna shut off and then work on the video and get it up. It was a really, really, really long one. I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do with that. Alrighty. Oh, wait a minute. We're just doing a cargo build. This must be doing the install. 0.25.2. Yeah, I think I'm installing on my system now. Okay, I guess that should be fixed. Fix tmux router install warning. Yeah, okay, I'm just going to end the video now. I think that it's just, I don't want to get another can of worms here. Cool. Oh, hey, we compacted. Why did you compact? Alrighty. It's just going to be more back and forth. So, peace out, everybody. We got 0.25.2 out. All right. Later.